Hey guys, this is J.K. Whiter from the Baseball Rebellion breaking down Kris Bryant's swing. If you follow this article a little bit already, you know that he's put up some pretty impressive numbers this year, and we're looking to see what makes him such a force at the plate. Is there some Baseball Rebellion technique in what he does? And I think you're going to look at what he does right here and really going to enjoy and see a lot of things that we talk about here at the Baseball Rebellion. And let's go ahead and get this thing underway. Kris Bryant is a 6'5", 215 kid. Obviously a bigger guy than most individuals, and we'll talk about that here in a second, but I want to see what his movements are. I don't care how big he is. I don't care how small he might be. I want to see how the guy moves, period. I don't care about the size. So we're going to see how he moves. So we see as he starts right here, he has what we call the double inside load, and all that means is he's going to keep his knees inside his feet. All right, at no point, whether he goes back or forward, whatever he does, he's not going to move those feet. He's going to make sure he stays inside. Now, as he goes, you're going to see a little bit of a shift backwards, okay? That's fine, okay? We talk about moving forward, and he's going to do that, but moving back a little bit, timing and rhythm is okay. You see that little sway to toe touch right there, okay? Heels up in the ground, or excuse me, heel is up in the air, toes on the ground, and from there he gets a really good shift back forward. Again, back forward into this position here, where you're going to see Chaz talk a lot about this, okay, and I'm going to talk a lot about it too, is this position we get to on the knee on the front side that is bent. Okay, he's shifted his weight forward. He's not staying back. He swayed back, and then he was able to get his body momentum going back forward. And when you get that big 6'5", 215 frame moving forward, watch out. You know, we think maybe he could possibly look at as he gets into the professional level after, you know, levels after he was picked second overall, he might actually get his stance to be a little bit shorter and maybe get a little bit more momentum going once he starts facing some 98s on a day-to-day basis. So we'll see if that changes throughout his career. We don't know, but that's something that we might see happen. So once he gets here, you know, you're going to see a lot of really good things. Okay, the first thing I want to, you know, really notice for you guys is this head. Okay, looking down a guy's swing. All right, here's his head, and I put that pretty close to his head, and yep, it stays right in there. Okay, so he does an unbelievable job of going through his turn with a super still head. I mean, way after that ball's been hit, that head is just down there, man. And as his shoulder comes up, that head will come out of there, but not until then. So that shoulder really drives his chin out of the way, not the other way around. He's not pulling his head out with his turn. His head's actually coming down and in toward the ball. Phenomenal job right there by Kris. Okay, so his head's really good. That's super important. Now, some things you're going to notice as well. All right, as he goes through his turn here, you're going to see that big foot, okay, not squishing the bug, all right, jumping over it. All right, he's doing that with his hip turn. So this massive hip turn here is going to pull that back foot off the ground and forward. And he's just going to kind of catch himself right there as he finishes. All right, he's not going to try to reach for the ground. He's just going to catch himself because he's an athlete and he's moving athletically. All right, so also we talk about the knees and the legs here. Okay, let's watch that front side. So we know, you know, at the baseball bell we talk about a firm front side. So we'll see if that knee pushes back and this back hip comes around, or excuse me, his front hip comes around the back. There we go. Okay, so he's using that front side to help turn against himself and really create that thrust. And if you guys want to read up on super thrust, Chaz has a great article out on super thrust. He's definitely got that coming around. So we like to see that. You can see his foot right here firmly on the ground, helping push back. Now remember, his heel is where that pushing back is coming from, not from his toe. He's not jumping, he's pushing back. Okay, so we've broken down his head, we've broken down his feet, shift of his weight to the front side, down, right there. Okay, now let's look about his upper half. Let's look at the chest up. Okay, we talk a lot about not making the hands go, not extending the arms to the ball, you know, not having a knob down, downhill swing. Let's take a look at Kris here. Okay, so we know he's got the great head, the great lower half, and there you go. Okay, so as we expected right here, phenomenal job of what we would call turning the box. So if you take his upper half or his arms, you're not going to see the typical hands out to the ball. You're going to see these bent elbows being turned to the ball. He's not using his hands because his hands haven't gone anywhere. They've been turned literally inside this box that you're going to see. And from there, he's able to get to the ball super fast, super accelerated, and with no hand movement. Okay, so not only is it fast and super accelerated, it's also going to be very strong and very supportive for Kris as he goes through the swing. Okay, so he's hitting this ball not only with speed, but also strength. That gives him the max amount of force. That allows that big frame and body weight of his to get through his body and into his hands and into the bat as efficiently and as smoothly as he can, as fast as he can, without losing any of it on the way. And that's super important when you're talking about a baseball swing that has to happen in less than half of a second. Very important, okay? So you see Kris here doing a lot of Baseball Rebellion things here, and we're really excited to see what happens to Kris as he goes through his professional career. Maybe some things will change, but there's a reason why Kris Bryant leads the country in home runs, and that's it right there. Obviously, he's big, but again, we stress to our guys all the time that being big doesn't make you good. Being big allows you to do some things that maybe another guy couldn't do, but being good means having the right mechanical pattern, the right movement pattern, athletic pattern that you see Kris, you see Hamilton, you see guys all the time in the big leagues do, and they're there for a reason. There's a lot of big, strong guys in the minor leagues, but how come some of those guys don't make it? I think they max out on their technique, and it only takes them so far. So we're excited about Kris and going to the Cubs. I know Chaz is excited to see him play for the Cubs, and let's see how Kris Bryant turns out. And he's going to be an interesting guy to follow, and we'll see what happens to him.